Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy Rob here. Welcome to the Flame Entertainment and Sports. We have a very special interview for you today. It's with an old classmate of mine from Monsignor Pace High School here in Miami. Her name is Tiffany Pou. We recently, reconnected after not seeing each other for a while because I realized that she is a huge fan of Jake Paul, just like me. I noticed she had attended, a couple of his fights recently, so I decided to, message her and ask her if she wanted to, come on the podcast. And yeah, we talk, a lot about Jake Paul. We talk about his two previous fights that she was at. We talk Amanda Serrano. We also talk about Jake Paul against Mike Tyson coming in July, and we also dive into Tiffany's own new journey into the boxing world. So I hope you all enjoy it. And yeah, thank you, to Tiffany for taking the time to share her love for boxing and talk about her journey in this amazing sport with us today on the podcast. All right, guys. So before we start, I want to talk to you guys about SeatGeek. As always, we're part of Team SeatGeek, and it's one of the best ticketing apps out there. And with our code ROBCAO, ROBCAO, you'll receive $20 off your first ticket purchase on the SeatGeek app or on SeatGeek.com. My favorite part of SeatGeek, as I always say, is that each deal is rated on a scale from 1 to 10. So they really do their part in helping you find the best deal possible. And once again, make sure to use code ROBCAO for $20 off your first purchase. That's ROBCAO for $20 off your first ticket purchase on the SeatGeek app or SeatGeek.com. And what better time than now, especially baseball fans. You see my Marlins shirt there. Opening day is coming this week. If you're looking for tickets, download that SeatGeek app. Use our code ROBCAO and you'll receive $20 off your first ticket purchase. And now, let's talk some boxing with the great Tiffany Pou. Enjoy. All right, guys. Welcome. We have a very special guest today on the Flame Entertainment and Sports. We have Tiffany Pou. We went to high school together at Pace. So keeping that Pace connection alive on the podcast a couple episodes ago, I talked about Anthony Walker, another, Pace Spartan coming back to Miami to join the Dolphins. Now we have one of my classmates from Pace, and we've recently reconnected over our love for Jake Paul. Those of you who listen to the podcast, you guys know how much I love, Jake Paul. And yeah, it's been cool to find out that, I know someone who has a love for him as well. And now she's also into boxing. She's an amateur boxer. And Tiffany, thank you for taking the time to join us today.
No, yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to discuss our love for this great guy and me being able to share my experience with everything he's doing. It's truly remarkable and amazing. It's hard to have the conversations like we were shortly chatting about, and I can't wait to get into it.
No, for sure. All right, yeah. So you were telling me before we started recording that you've been able to go to multiple, fights recently. You're able to see Amanda Serrano. You've been able to see Jake Paul multiple times. If you want to start off, we could start off by talking about Amanda Serrano. Obviously, she is, a legendary boxer for women's boxing, and obviously she's one of the main, puzzle pieces, if you want to call that, of MVP of Jake Paul's promotion company. So, yeah, what was that like? The first time seeing her fight in person.
Well, one thing I have to say is, like we were shortly discussing, the Puerto Rican community is out of this world. One, I see why he probably chose Puerto Rico to go fight in or be a fighter out of, because they are truly for their people. I never understood that. I've met people that are from Puerto Rico and they talk about it, but these people are all for, again, like I said, for their people. So when I got to see Amanda Serrano, you just felt the energy in the room. I mean, people banging on the bleachers, on the chairs, screaming. It was amazing to see all that love and support. I felt like in this little conference room, it felt like being at a Taylor Swift concert. So it was cool to see that, watching a lot of her, seeing her composure, seeing how she carries herself through a fight. She is truly what she is, that 7-8 belt holder winner thing. She's all of those things. I don't even know how to say it. Her technical movement's great. She's smart, definitely can take many punches. If you've ever watched her previous fight, I feel like she loves to get hit for some reason, but she's truly inspiring. I think her and Jake go hand in hand with what they're doing together. especially for boxing bullies, inspiring women athletes, not even just women fighters, women athletes, their mission statement of just proving all odds to be wrong. Like nothing is impossible. You can start at any age if you really, really dedicate your time and self to it. You can be a world champion. You can be anything you want to be. And I don't know. There's just so much I can say. But dynamically watching her fight, it's awesome to see how she tangles with people in the ring. She loves to go the distance. I haven't seen her do any knockouts in person, obviously, because we didn't get to see her in Puerto Rico. But I love how she is just so humbling and how she carries herself. She's truly an inspiration to this sport. And I hope I get to go watch her when she has her rematch in Puerto Rico. They're going to do it again. I know they announced it. So yeah, that was just a little bit of my experience there at that fight.
That's amazing. It's amazing you're able to witness her, like her greatness in person. And yeah, no, that would be great. You're able to go to that, rescheduled match in Puerto Rico. And then of course, yeah, you saw Jake Paul. You've seen his, his last two fights, right?
Yeah. After Amanda, they announced at her fight that Jake will be going to the Caribe Royale. And while I was there, one of the bellhop people were telling me that he was not going to be present at her fight, because of contracting. They didn't want to pay him out to just be there for a couple of minutes and say hi. We did get to meet Juana at Amanda's fight, because I guess they choose some MVP athletes to obviously go support each other. So we saw Juana there. And then, so the bellhop guy told me and Veronica, like, oh, hey, like, he is scheduled to come here soon to do an appearance, but we weren't expecting, obviously, a fight to come out of that. So yeah, with Andre August. Yeah. So then we went to that, and, yeah, I mean, ask me any question towards that specifically if you want. I can go over a generalized thing, but go ahead.
For sure. No, that fight specifically, I was gonna try to go to it, being that it's that it was in Orlando, so it was nearby. I wasn't able to go, but like I've watched every single one of his fights, so I watched that fight. And yeah, what was the crowd like? Because I noticed a lot of times, like obviously through TV, I'm always like cheering for him, going crazy at home, but most of the time it's like boos for him. So yeah, I'm just wondering how that crowd was in Orlando for Jake.
It was not that. I will definitely confirm to you, everybody was there to support him. And the one thing I said to Veronica when I went with her, I was like, man, this is so nice to be in an environment that nobody's booing him. Like everybody that was there in that like intimate setting, because it was a very small room. Obviously, we didn't see him in like a stadium like in Puerto Rico, but everybody, even the kids behind us, because we had basically ringside seating. So the kids that were like behind the gate, they were all like just cheering for him, going crazy. And we were just so overwhelmed by like the love. I was like, man, I'm so happy that nobody here is like against him. Like we get to freely cheer for him. I will say that dynamically with crowds, Amanda Serrano's people were far more loud than the fight with Jake. I just feel like that's a culture thing. Hispanics, we can get loud and be crazy and have fun and let loose.
Sure.
So, but I think with Jake's fight, it was more about everybody being so there for him and excited to see him fight. So that was very nice to be in at the time. And seeing Tyron Woodley, like, I don't know if you saw on TV, like him. I don't know if he was like a host.
He was like, from what I remember, I think he was commentating, but like from like before and after the fight. You get me?
Yeah. Actually, so from my perspective, well, I got to see him in person the night before because me and Veronica stayed in the Caribe Royale because we just, since we already did the easy route of, hey, we got to just walk to the venue and just go back to our room. We're going to keep doing that. And then the after party, if you had like ringside, they give you after party invitations. So we were like, oh, we're just going to stay here. And we're going to do it the same way for Jake Paul. So, yeah, so I got to see him when we first got in. I didn't say hi to him because I didn't want to bother him. But when you walk into the fight, you just see him right there. Like, let me see if I give you a little photo real quick. But it was really cool how we got to be so close to all of these celebrities, athletes. Like I saw Derek, like I've passed by Derek at least twice now from Better.
That's awesome.
And I'm just like, wow, this is truly, truly insane that we're just close to all these athletes and stuff like that. And also seeing him come out to commentate on his fight after we've seen the past and stuff like that. But what was amazing was seeing his first round knockout with Andre August and stuff like that. I was floored. I mean, I was like, oh my God, this was awesome. A little upset because I wanted to see a fight go the distance. This was my first Jake Paul fight.
I feel
Um,
you. I feel you.
yeah,
I
I
was
was like, damn. But
yeah,
everybody went wild. It's probably something I'll never forget about, honestly.
no, for sure. No, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, I was gonna say, what was it like? Yeah, seeing such a like him do such a quick knockout, yeah, in person, because like from TV, it was crazy. I was going crazy, but I could only imagine actually being there and seeing him do that in person.
Yeah. Well, also, if you, I'm pretty sure, and I hope you got to hear his walkout song, just like his whole entrance and everything, like him doing Christmas music, that was awesome. Like he really brought the hype in, and it was so great to see him finally enjoying it because you would see him in the past or like if you watched his like first fights and stuff like that, like he's very focused, very serious, like really, really in that problem child, like I'm ready to kill, I'm ready to like go in and dog this guy out. This time we finally got to see him just have pure fun and also tap into the problem child. um I did get to talk to his coach a little bit about it because I got to meet him. I
That's
don't want to
dope.
bring it up too much. Yeah, like I feel like there's so much hand in hand stuff that I can talk about. Um, so when I talked to him post fight, he was telling me that they had worked heavily on that shot, like setting that up to secure that. And I feel like that's why one, he's able to manifest and do so much visual work to get into that. Um, and that's where he started saying, I'm going to go back to being the problem child. I'm going to go back to being this dog. And you definitely see him enjoying it, having fun, but he needed to get like connected with that, and he needed that KO. Like it's been a while, so for me when I saw it, I filmed it the whole time because man, if you blinked, which I did, I didn't even get to take the contact. That's how quick it was. So it's really cool to be able to talk to his coach afterwards and ask him like, those key questions, like, hey, how is it even like in this smaller arena? Is it better for you to even communicate with him while you're down on the mat and stuff like that? And he's like, yeah,
Gotcha.
man, like no one ever asked me that. So it's really good that we're in intimate settings like that because he gets to hear me. And I feel like that was just something like a good key component that helped them carry that victorious move. That uppercut shot was just set up so beautifully. And I think his coaching team right now is really carrying him to greatness. And I hope he sticks with them. So, yeah.
No, I love to hear that. And something that you pointed out there, like you started off with like his entrance with the Christmas music, and you saw him, yeah, like more comfortable, just like having fun,
Having fun.
living in the moment. I think that kind of carried into his like following fight in Puerto Rico, because I saw this like
Yes.
easy, like I don't know, he just seemed like super relaxed and calm going into that fight with Ryan Borland. And I think that's why he got
Yeah.
another first round knockout, because he just seemed like it was like this humble confidence. It wasn't like that, yeah, like in the past, where he was like doing too much talking, and it was just like too
Yeah.
much, at a certain point. And I think that's kind of what messed him up with Tommy Fury, that he was kind of talking too much. But I think
Yeah.
recently we see him kind of coming back down to earth and like being more humble, but still having that confident side. Would you agree?
I agree. I even think, yeah, I think he's leading his life through like more humble attributes. And I think him moving out to Puerto Rico was just such a good move for him mentally because I feel like with all the, spiritual meditation stuff he's doing, like going out to, right now he's in like Costa Rica right now doing ayahuasca with his family, but like he's gotten heavy into connecting to himself. And I feel like that's where we're also seeing the dynamic change of him and Logan being two different people right now. And I feel like him surrounding himself with more not humbling people, but good people and people that are leading him to again, yeah, like a more humble place. He's been able to lead his life a lot better, and it's reflecting in his sports. And the way that he's giving back, that's only giving back to him as well. Doing good to others will always bring great things back to you. So I feel like that he's living such a great life right now that it definitely is bleeding into everything else.
Nah, it's
So
amazing to hear. And now, obviously, oh yeah, to stick really quickly with the most recent fight with Ryan Borland. What was it like experiencing that in Puerto Rico?
oh my gosh, that was. I mean, I was staying with some family members that Veronica has in Puerto Rico for us to go watch the fight, and she just kept warning us, like the same thing I had noticed. The Puerto Ricans love him; they go crazy for him. They have adapted to him. He is one of us now, and I'm like, no, I see it. So when he gets announced, all you hear in the crowd is "El Gallo, El Gallo." It was so awesome. I was like, man, this lady wasn't kidding. And just, I don't even think I've been to things here. I keep equating it to Taylor Swift because obviously we've seen her do crazy things. And I went to her concert and I've never been to anything else. That's just that uh, passionate, loving, like everyone's really present. So everybody went insane again. Like, and it's really cool to see people that are not just, maybe like 1,500 people in a little room or 1,000 people in a little room. Like you're seeing a whole stadium praising this man and seeing him like smile and be so happy, him even like flapping his wings. Like it was just awesome. I got to film all of it. Later I'll send all of it to you so you have these things. But for that, obviously us not being aware that Amanda wasn't going to be fighting, I like he said, like, oh, I really wish this could have gone the distance. Of course, he's loving these like KOs and stuff like that. I feel like he's asking the universe for something, like he didn't have his KOs for a certain period. Now he's getting them. And he's like, dang, like I need to keep going. But that was something else too. It was like a blink of an eye. I was not expecting it to be a KO at all, or they had called it something else, but technically it's a KO, excuse me. But he just went to town with him. And there was a point that, again, I got to see his coach really quick and ask him after the fight. I was like, what did you tell him? Because you see a point of hesitation and then he still keeps going at him. He keeps going at him. But I was like, man, like he really did it. He went all in, he went through. And I was expecting more out of it because he was trying to, again, pick an opponent that had double the fights, double the years, times, record, whatever it may be. He was really looking for somebody that was going to be that challenge because obviously he's trying to get to that world championship title. So I was pretty shocked by that. But when he got it, he was so happy and again, devastated because he wanted to give us a show like that. I love how he's so considerate and careful about, yes, I know this is for me, but we're doing this for you guys as well. And I think that's why I'm also a huge supporter of him because he's somebody that cares about his people at the same time of his legacy and building everything for him. But yeah, I mean that was crazy within itself. Everyone's freaking screaming, dale puñeta, whatever, like let's keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, don't stop. Like and it's just it was really cool. I mean, I know I was off my seat, just jumping up and down, like, oh my God, he's gonna get it again. He's gonna get it again. It's like no other experience in this world. Like Rob, I really hope you get to go to his next fight, even if you get to make it a Tyson. We're trying to see if we can go. We just don't know if we want to enjoy it at home this time around because the traveling's getting a lot.
Nah, I get you. But I definitely I love hearing that like the Puerto Ricans are so supportive of him. And
Oh my God.
yeah, and you bringing up like the next fight, obviously, like this is huge news. He's gonna be fighting Mike Tyson at Cowboy Stadium in July. It's gonna be broadcasted live on Netflix, which is like it's mind blowing. But if anyone could do it, it's literally Jake or Logan. That's how I see it. If anyone could pull these type of events off, but nah, it would be crazy, to be in the building for that. But yeah, I was actually gonna ask, yeah, like if you're planning to be there because that's gonna be like I don't even know. That's gonna be one of the most like legendary sporting events of all time.
Yeah, I keep having this conversation conversation with myself. I'm like, man, I know I'm a little exhausted from traveling. Because I just got back 2 weeks ago and I'm trying to get back to my work. I've had like a lot of off days and I need to get back on. Um, so I want to be there exactly to see that history. And as I've been going to these fights, I'm truly being a part of history. And
Yes.
when his time is done with being in the sport with maybe social media and now it's time for his kids, like I at least you get to say like, man, I was there for that. It's so different than being at home and watching it on TV. Like that's great too, but there is truly something magical about being there. Because the events are great in itself. It's exciting. You get to see all these celebrities, all these people. Like I had Dwight Howard walk by me in
Yeah,
Puerto
let's
Rico.
go.
Like I was like, what am I living in right now? Like what? And
That's so cool. Yeah.
yeah, like I got pretty close to him. It was like really, really weird. I was like, ain't no way this is happening to me right now. But yeah, for Tyson's fight, I want to see it because we know this is going to be something that I know a lot of people are expecting Jake to get his head taken off, basically. But I feel like people are failing to see it from his perspective. Like, if we think about Jake right now, he's somebody that, how do I say this? He wants to make history. He wants to, like, I don't know, so many things are just, he wants to be world champion. He likes to make history. He likes to give a show. And within this Netflix event, he's doing that. There's been no fight done on Netflix before. There has been nobody recently fighting Mike Tyson at this level. And at the end of the day, I find it all to be a win-win factor. It's going to be an exhibition. So yeah, like I'm trying to even think of my things that I have here. But yeah, like it's going to be an exhibition. So with exhibitions, it's always gain. It's a business move. He's that businessman. He's going to be thinking about this more than ever. Also, getting in the ring with somebody that's a heavyweight, undisputed champion from 1987 to 1990. Like he's walking out at the end of the day with experience, with money, the deal with Netflix, and all the press, the good press, the bad press. It's all going to just be in his benefit. Because if you think about it from a fighter's perspective, like let's go away from Jake Paul's perspective on the gain from this. He doesn't care if he gets his ass beat. Excuse me for my language, but he doesn't care if he does. He's going to be basically fighting somebody, again, like I said, that has those champions, which means he has the years, he has all the knowledge. He's going to be learning in the ring with him. For a fighter's perspective, like I'm saying, every spar that you take, every day of practice, you are learning. In the sport of boxing, you do not stop learning. That's how it's felt for me. Like I'm walking in every day and there is nitpicking, fine detail. Like it's a lot of small, simple work that, even at the end of the day, you see Jake being so prepared after his 3 months of training or 6 months of training for his fights. You still see him walk away at the end of his fights being like, man, I give the guy respect. I give the guy credit because I'm walking away from this today and we're going to fine tune this. Like I wasn't that happy here. I wasn't that happy here. And like, I'm thinking, man, you just got a knockout. Like you should be happy. You should be talking great. No, it's truly, truly that for a fighter. You're going back to work. Like there's so many things that you learn about yourself because this sport is not physical. It is actually mental. You are fighting. Yes, you are fighting a physical person in front of you, but it's all in the mind. It's a mind game. And a lot of things come up when you're in the ring. That's why having that composure, that control over yourself, it's so important because you are fighting yourself. Like it is truly a lot of like mental health work, a lot of physical work. So him being in the ring with Mike Tyson, it's again, like I said, it's all game. It's all game. And it's going to give him that experience to get to world champion. I hope those are fine points for you. Sorry, I went on
No,
a little too long. Yeah.
no, I love all of that. And actually, like being a big, sports fan that I am, like football, baseball, basketball, all those sports as well. Like, to add on with boxing, a majority of them are mental, I'm always as a huge, yeah, like I said, fan for all my teams, I'm always like I prefer high IQ guys than like the most talented guys, but they're kind of like all over the place. So I love that you talked about how important mental toughness is like in boxing. And no, I was gonna ask you really quick, like what kind of got you into boxing, and what's like your journey been like in boxing so far?
So what got me into boxing, I've definitely hesitated on it because I think growing up, I know I wanted to get into some sort of uh, like physical sport. I've been an athlete my whole life. I've tried everything. I have always wanted to be on a platform, and especially now that I feel like I have so many mission statements and I want to help people and inspire people. I think seeing Jake and what he's doing for people and like Amanda Serrano, I'm like, wow, you know, it's a plus because I have that personal passion to help and give back to people. And on top of that, I miss being an athlete in general. And I know that it's the one sport that really, really can humble you and break you down. And also, it's just something I've never been into. I love to try everything. And it's definitely given me that edge. I've been training for 4 months now. Since I've been back from PR, I've been a little bit on and off. I've been sick. I've been not able to go, just, life things. But, I'm going back today. Um, and after the Orlando fight, I had the opportunity to meet Jake's coach, and we connected very well. Veronica connected with him very well. And I give a lot of my motivation and props to him because I asked him, listen, like, I'm not trying to use you or anything. I do have a huge curiosity towards it because, like, as a smart athlete, you don't want to just kind of do these things on your own. Like, I tried looking 2 months prior heavily, heavily while I was watching the BS podcast. I was like, man, I really want to get into this. It's 2 years of me thinking about this. Like, I don't want myself when I get older to regret me not even trying it. And missing the edge of sports so much. So I looked at him and I was like, I've looked for 2 months on my own. I don't want to have my time wasted by coaches because it is a scary business to get into. A lot of bad business can be made in boxing. So I wanted myself to be put in the right hands. And I was like, hey, is there anybody that you can connect me with in Miami? And he just sent Veronica the address because they, like I said, they hit it off really well. And they were just talking by the bar the first night we got there before the fight. And it was just an address. Like, I don't even think I can tell you the name of the gym. That or I just haven't really paid attention because I'm going in and I'm working and I'm getting out. He sent him this address and he was like, look, this is my guy, Herman. Try to work with him, tell him that I sent you and whatever. So I walked into this gym, just little old me going in, and I was like, hey, I was sent by, Third. I was sent by Theo and I'm looking for Herman. And this guy, his name is Raul. He's my coach currently. He was like, I was like, by any chance, you know where he is? He's like, no, he's not here. What do you need again? And I was like, I'm here to look for a coach. He goes, oh, but Herman only works with pro boxers and not amateurs. And I'm like, okay. In my head, I'm like, I'm not taking no for an answer. So he gets on the phone with Herman. He's like, nah, I'm gonna pass her off to you. So he's a part of he has his own amateur club that he deals with to obviously develop them and make them pro boxers. So I've been working with him for months. He definitely has a Cuban style fighting to him. So I'm excited to learn all that. And Third even said, he goes, those guys are awesome. Them Cubans know how to tear it up and get down. Like, I want to send you to them. So I was like, yeah, like it would be perfect. Like my background, everything. So yeah, I've been working with them. I really, really thank his coach for giving me that connect and contact. And yeah, that's how I got into it. Honestly, I truly give it to Jake Paul's coach. Like, how crazy it is to say that.
Nah, that's amazing. And I was gonna say you should be like proud of yourself for like talking to him, like actually having the courage to actually ask for advice from him and stuff, because I feel like I've had so many opportunities in my life, to talk to someone like that, of that caliber in their respective area or whatever. And a lot of times, I let my mind like take over, and I end up missing out on an opportunity. So I think that alone, like you should be proud of yourself, and yeah, I think it's really true. Like if you ask, you shall receive or whatever. I think that's really true. like you put yourself out there and look where you're at now. So I think that's amazing to hear. Like, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, thank you. I know, and I see you meeting all these people. Like, I think one piece of advice I can give you that I honestly live in that mentality too. That I'm just like, man, if I like, there's a reason why I'm in this position. I have to make something with it because God is going to keep sending me all of these reminders. Like you've met so many great people. Uh, you are your biggest support system. Sell yourself always, and I'm not. I wasn't in a place to sell myself with anything. I don't have like a podcast or anything like that. I was just like, man, I'm a girl with a dream, a huge dream. And I feel like, God sent me this sign and this message. I've been asking one for months. So I really tried to take advantage of it. And I thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you for telling me that. But yeah,
No,
I
of
hope
course.
that resonates with you and helps you moving forward.
No, thank you. No, and no, it's definitely all God too. Like you said, God gives us these opportunities. He puts like these people in our lives, and we just gotta take advantage and actually use the gifts that He gives like each of us. So that's like amazing to hear. But yeah, no, we could go back really quickly. Yeah, to this Tyson fight. Something that one of my favorite
Yeah.
things, right, about the Paul brothers is that they do things that like people never believe will be possible. And I've like always found myself over the years as someone who like I believe like I could do things that most people will be like, oh, you're crazy, like what are you talking about? So I think this is just another example of Jake proving that whatever you set your mind to you can achieve. So yeah, he's just like he's so inspiring to me. Like every time I see him fight, or every time he does something with his what do you call it, foundation, for bullying, like, and just everything he does, he's just an
Yeah.
inspiration. So this is just another example of that, and man, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, it blows my mind too because I'm also sitting here sometimes, like even in my gym, not everyone gives him any credit because like it's hard for actual boxers. Um, because Jake is really doing the impossible. Most boxers do not ever get to his level that he is at, and the fact that he achieved it so easily, with how much he's worked in his life, it's kind of tough for people to swallow in that community. But if we look at it in the conversation we're having right now, why aren't people on the train of it? Why aren't people being like, man, this guy, whatever he says, he does. Like it happens. It truly manifests out for him. And I don't know, again, if just people are drinking too much of the haterade and they're not really trying to be optimistic or positive within themselves. But I think it's truly, truly impactful that he within a week span before his fight is able to say, I am going to get a first round KO. He has done it twice, or at least with the Andre August one. He said it and he did it. I'm going to move to Puerto Rico and I'm going to isolate myself from the world and become one of the best boxing stories ever. He truly is doing that. He got Sports Illustrated. Like, wow, like I wish people, and I feel like people are coming around to it because, I'm going to these events and I'm seeing it. There's a lot more people saying, yes, Jake Paul, than F you, Jake Paul, or F Jake Paul. So I feel like is having some bit of turnaround, but there's still that negative impression, he's not fighting a real boxer, he's not whatever he is. And people are just kind of not equating his past two fights to real fighters, but they are. They just don't have the fame behind it. I feel like people will give him the credit if he were to knock out Canelo, and that's what people want to see. But again, that's like more of the entertainment side than really what he's doing. He's being very smart and strategic, even up to like his first fight. He truly is fighting people at his level. Tyson is not at his level, but he's doing that to push himself to be uh, in another bracket. And this sport is all about collecting things to put on your utility belt. That's what it is. You're watching fights, you're fighting people, and you are just gaining new knowledge to put it in your pockets to carry you out for the rest of the journey. So yeah, a lot of topics in one. I don't know if you want to piggyback off anything, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna ask you like if there's anything else specific, like in terms of boxing, or Jake Paul or Amanda Serrano, that you would wanna talk about.
They're honestly awesome. they're great people. I feel like we need to now tag this video and be like, get on the Jake Paul wave, because honestly, you guys are missing out, and allow him to inspire you because he's really, really doing great things. Um, yeah, I think the only thing I want to comment on is I'm excited to see the Tyson fight. I'm excited to see also Walter continue on in his thing and his journey, because he was great also in Puerto Rico. Has great movement. You can tell that his amateur years were fantastic to him. And yeah, hopefully, I mean, I'd love to see it. I'd love to be it. Hopefully I can train really hard for the next 2 years to get into MVP. I feel like that's a goal for myself I have. And if not, like, just become a pro boxer and have a great record and be able to make impact in communities or in our community here. And yeah.
It's amazing to hear. Yeah, what I say is like, yeah, just take it, day by day. Do your thing, make sure you love it, and yeah, just put in the work, and God will handle the rest.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, Tiffany, it was awesome to have you on. It was a lot of fun, and I think we should do this again, because it's just like, I'm so happy that I actually know someone who has like the same passion for Jake Paul, because like, you get me, I'll talk about Jake Paul to like, oh, my dad, or like now my dad will watch him, and I kind of tell him like, oh, dad, he just he does things that other people would never do. Or I'll tell a couple of my friends, like my close circle, but like, realistically speaking, he's like one of those topics that people get like all heated about. And I feel a lot of times, I don't know, I tend to, I don't know why, be a fan of some people that might be controversial, I guess, in the media, whatever you want to call it. So I'm super picky with who I talk to Jake Paul with, because yeah, it's just not worth the fighting or anything. But yeah, I'm just super happy that you have like the same passion for him that I do.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Rob, we can talk about it whenever. I mean, even if we can on our end, maybe we all three can fly out if we think more about the Tyson fight, and maybe we can all do that together. That would be really cool. And then we can come back and talk about it again. Or if you ever, I don't know, want to catch up in a year, see how I'm doing in boxing. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today, though. Like, I agree with you as well. It's great to talk about somebody that's doing great things, even though they're not highlighted in that way, the underdog. I think we both share the love for underdog. Yes.
100%, always. Yeah, I was gonna tell you, if we are able to, get a group together to go out to that fight. I actually bought a microphone recently, like one of those small little microphones that you could like connect to, have with you, like put it in your pocket. And yeah, who knows? We be at the fight and we run into some, people, and we could get some content out of it as well. But yeah, no, yeah, thanks again for taking the time. And if you want, before we wrap up, yeah, if there's any other message, or if you want people to find you anywhere, or support the gym you go to, whatever, any final messages you could put up.
I think one of my final messages is definitely stay inspired. It doesn't matter who you like, what you love. If you're committed to it and you love it so much, go all in, be in it, be immersed in it, grow, change yourself. Don't stay stuck to an identity or thing that you once may have thought about yourself. Step outside of your boxes, make your uncomfortable your comfortable, and it will truly, truly change the course of your life. I guess follow me on Instagram. It's my first and last name, Tiffany Pou. I guess I'll tag my coach as well, Chidi No Boxing. And yeah, like, thank you so much again. I don't have much to say right now. And hopefully maybe we get to talk and go out to the fight, or any future fight, honestly.
Sounds good. So yeah, Tiffany, thanks again. And yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. And I'll be sure to put those, social media handles in the description of this episode. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode with Tiffany Pou. We talked a lot of boxing, a lot of Jake Paul. We also talked about Tiffany's own, new journey within the boxing community. And it was an amazing time to reconnect with an old friend from, like, as I said to begin this, from high school, from Pace. Got to reunite the Spartans together. You already know. But yeah, thanks again to Tiffany for coming on. Make sure to, check her out on social media, throughout this video. You'll see her handles. If you're listening on the podcast feed, you can look at the description of the episode, and her handle will be there, so you could go follow her on Instagram. And yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And again, make sure to check out SeatGeek, download the SeatGeek app, or go to SeatGeek.com and use our code ROBCAO, ROBCAO, for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Thanks again to Tiffany, and until next time, everyone, take care.